Hello, Edward's 8th grade students. Mr. Lawrence here with a second review video, and this one's going to be all on triangles. Triangles play a big part of the OAA. You'll definitely want to take notice of this, and I will have a worksheet for you if your teacher chooses to use a worksheet. Anyway, let's get right down to it. Let's look at problem number 1. Find x. Well, I see I have a right triangle, and I know two sides of the right triangle are given, and the third side is missing. Well, you should all be experts at this right now. This is a Pythagorean theorem problem where a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And remember, c is always across from the hypotenuse. So I like to go to my right angle and draw an arrow, and the side that I hit is always c. Okay? Now, a and b don't really matter. 4 could be a, 7 could be a. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to set up a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we're going to fill in everything I know. So I'm going to say 4 squared. And I like to use parentheses. It's not going to matter with these numbers being positive, but it's a good habit to be in if they were negative. And we're going to get x squared, okay, for c. And then I'm going to get 16 plus 49 equals x squared. And 16 and 50 would be 66, so that's going to be 65, and that'll be x squared. Now, I'm not going to use a calculator on this. I know you all know how to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and guesstimate it. I'm going to guesstimate the square root of 65. So the square root is 65, because to undo the square, I need to take the square root, right? 65, and then over here, I'm going to put the square root of 81. Now, I know the square root of 64 is 8, well, plus or minus 8 technically. The negatives don't apply in this case because we're looking for the side of a triangle. You can't have a negative side of a triangle. Square root of 81 is 9, plus or minus 9, but again, the negative doesn't apply in this problem. So, I'm going to estimate the square root of 65. Now, some of you will automatically go 8.5. It makes absolutely no sense to do that. If you don't know why, I'm going to explain it. If you still don't know, I'll bet you that Nicole can explain it for us. But look at all these numbers here. Oops, writing the same number twice. Sorry about that. 65, 66, 7, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, and 81. All right, if I go to the middle of that group, let's see here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I believe the middle's right about there. If this is 8 and this is 9, wouldn't this be 8.5? 8.5. So you see, saying the square root of 65 is about 8.5 is a very terrible estimate. Now check this out. There's 9 here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Isn't this the middle of the first half? Right? And so wouldn't that be 8.25? Okay. The square root of 65 is going to be much smaller. It's going to be somewhere around, like, at the most 8.1. I'll tell you what, I'm going to crunch it on my calculator and see what it tells me. And sure enough, I get square root of 65 is approximately equal to 8.06. And if I round it to the nearest tenth, it's going to be 8.1, 8 and 1/10. But remember, I said at most it could be 8 and 1/10. Okay? So now if I say that as my estimate, I'm only off by 4 hundredths. That's not a big deal. Okay? So I know that x is going to be approximately 8.1 inches. All right, let's try the next problem. Again, I got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. To find c, I always draw a line from my right angle. C in this case is 30. I want to fill that one in first. Okay, I'm going to make a squared x squared. And then b, I need 10 squared. So I'm going to go x squared plus 100 and that's going to equal 900. Therefore, x squared is going to equal 800, and I'm going to take the square root of each side. Now, I'm not going to estimate this one so much. I know the square root of 900 is going to be 30, okay? It's going to be a pretty big number, square root of 800, but I know it's going to be less than 30. So x is going to be approximately equal to, and it would normally be, oop, I'm having airliner trouble. Hold on a second. Not sure what happened there, but I think I figured it out. Okay, so I'm going to take the square root, and I know it's going to be a large number, less than 30. So I'll take the square root of 800, and I'll get 28. Now we're on to the nearest tenths and 3/10. So it's about 28 and 3/10, and I'm in centimeters. And there we go. Piece of cake stuff, and I promise you, you will see the Pythagorean theorem on the 8th grade OAA. All right, problem 3. Bob is trying to swim across a river that is 300 meters wide to a pier where his friends are waiting. He starts swimming on his side of the river directly across from the pier. The current of the river is so strong that when he finally reaches the other side of the river, he finds that he is 100 meters from the pier. How far did Bob swim? Okay, well, let's see here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture. Let's see, I need my river. Where's my blue? Okay, here's my river. Okay, and now I need Bob. And Bob's here. He's looking rather buff in his swimsuit. And here's the pier that he's swimming to, right? Now I'm told that this distance here is 300 meters, I think. Is that right? Yeah, 300 meters wide. So he's 300 meters away from the pier. Now, Bob swims like this. I mean, he's swimming along, but the current's pushing him down, pushing him down, pushing him down, pushing him down. And he ends up down here, and I believe that's what, 100 meters off target? So this is 100 meters. What have I just made? Well, if you said a right triangle, you are absolutely correct. This is a Pythagorean theorem problem. Piece of cake. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm asked to find how far he actually swam, and if I check, that's the side across from the hypotenuse. So I'm going to put 300 in for A. I'm going to put 100 in for B, and I'm going to put X in for C. So I'm going to get 90,000 plus 10,000. That's going to equal X squared. 90,000 and 10,000, which would be 100,000, I believe, equals X squared. And then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Remember, it'll have two answers, but the negative one I'll throw away. Okay, so I'm going to take the square root of 100,000, and I'm going to get approximately 316, rounding to the nearest tenth, and 2/10 meters. So we actually had to swim over an extra 16 meters because of the current. All right, 2 more problems, and then we're going to call it quits for today. Actually, maybe it's just 1 more problem. Sorry about that. Okay, you have a triangle, and 2 of the sides are 5 meters and 8 meters. Now, we don't know if it's a right triangle. It might be, it might not. All I know is this is 5 meters. This is 8 meters. Might even look something like this. Okay, so that's 5 meters, 8 meters. It could be a lot of different ways. I want to know how long it is to get to the other side. Well, this is really a simple problem, or how long that other side could be. You see, there's a rule that says any 2 sides of a triangle have to add up to be more than the third side. Well, if I take the 2 sides I know and add them together, I get 13. x cannot be more, can't even be 13. Because if x were 13, then these two sides wouldn't add up to be more. So 5 plus 8 is 13. X has to be smaller than 13. But there's a smaller restriction too. And I get that by doing 8 minus 5. And I get 3. That means x has to be greater than 3. If I want to combine that in one sentence, all I have to do is go 3 is less than x, which is less than 13. X can be any number between 3 and 13, not including the endpoints. It could be 3 and 1/10. It could be 3.1456729. It could be 7.8. It could be 10. It could be 12.98. It can't be 13. Now, how did I do that? All I did was add the 2 to get the upper bound, and I subtracted the 2 to get the lower bound. Let's try one more. Let's say we have a triangle, and the sides are 10 and 19. Okay, to get the upper bound, I'm going to do 10 plus 19, which is going to be 29. To get the lower bound, I'm going to say 19 minus 10, which is going to be 9. Well, x has to be between those two numbers, not including the two numbers. All right, that's it for the lesson. Mr. Lawrence signing off. Have a good day, everybody.